Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Welcome back, everybody. Everyone, all of y'all. Stumbled out of the gate on that one, my friends, but we're leaving it in because that's how we roll. Hey, let's talk about when TDs attack, my friends. When TDs attack. Have you noticed that lately a third to a half of your team is going to be TDs? Look at this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 on my side. Math in public. Basically half of the team. What that means is you can actually create quite an advantage for your team. Think about this for a second. What does your typical TD player think about when they log into a game, when they spawn in, when they hit battle? They go, herder, I'm a TD. I need to go find a snipperino spot because I need to do some snipperino. All right? I'm a snipper. I'm going to snip from the back. I'm going to snip from the side. I'm going to snipe, snipe, snipe. Well, you know what? When you start to talk about a team that is half TDs, if you are able to get aggressive with the TD you're playing, add its gun to the important battle, you can make a huge, huge difference. Now, some TDs are much better at that. The Hori 2 is the Tier 8 Japanese Tech Tree TD. It's a casemate, as you can see, but it's got some pretty decent armor. Not amazing, but actually good. It's a different discussion if, say, you're trying to use your Scorpion G, but I would contend you can also do the same thing with the Scorpion G. You just have to be more careful about how you might poke and trade. But if you can bring your TD into the important battle positions like I'm about to do right here on Lakeville Dorf, and this happens to be an encounter battle, you can make a big difference. You can make a very big difference. And there's a lot of things going on here when you bring a TD into a fight like this. There's the fear factor of the good pen and the big gun. And often the TDs are not going to have a very fast reload, but they tend to hit hard and have good penetration. And once you are there backing up your heavies, you can put that fear factor into effect. Now, I saw a video, and I can't remember, to be honest. I'd love to give the person credit, but I can't remember who was talking about it, to be honest. But it was one of the other CCs, and he was talking about something that I've discussed a lot, and it's being aggressive in this game. And I want to be honest, I've actually sort of fallen off. Look at that hair. Why is that guy? All right, there we go. I've kind of fallen off on the whole aggression thing, and I'm trying to rekindle that a little bit more. I've had you guys tell me on occasion that I'm still more aggressive than most people, but I used to be much, much more aggressive. And I'm not saying it's time to go nuts and just start driving into everything, but I'm starting to believe that maybe a little more aggression than I have currently, or at least in the recent past, been using would be in order.
Got him.
And I find that something I discussed a lot actually before I got a little more careful in the gameplay is I always found that this kind of gameplay was more fun. It was just more fun, right? This is fun. We have a good team, and I'm not saying, once again, I hate to have to caveat this all the time, but it is important. I am not saying in any way that what I'm doing here is what carried the team to victory, but the team is definitely on board, whatever the reason, right? There's actually some TDs up front. We've got the AC here, the T103. That's one you can fight as a heavy, right? T103 is got a great gun. It's got a turret or a partial turret. The GSOR came in. The TS5, another armored heavy assault TD. We all came into town. To their credit, their GSOR came into town, but they didn't send very much else. And we just have extra guns. If you get aggressive with your TDs, do it right, do it carefully, slash aggressively, you're going to add extra guns into the critical positions for your team. And I'm telling you, it can make absolutely all the difference in the world. Now, you got to pay attention to what the rest of your team is doing. If I had showed up in town here and only 2 of us were there and there were 4 or 5 of them, then it's probably not a great idea to get as aggressive as I was. So you do have to read what's going on in the rest of the game. Pay attention to what your team is doing, and if you see a situation like this where you can go pedal to the metal, then do it. But what I find a lot with TD players is they start to see this kind of thing, but they're so far back, they've been hanging out so far back there the whole time that they're basically not able to take advantage of situations like this, or at least not as much as they might like to. So I'm just basically on W. This is a romple stomp at this point, but I was up front the whole time getting shots as I could, trying to figure out where these guys are, helping the team with the fear factor of the gun, a little bit of armor in there, although I don't have any bounces. Not even sure if I've been shot at. I've been shot at once and took a hit. What else does it help your team with when you're doing something like this? Well, it's HP sharing, right? If there's a lot of you, there's more HP to go around, and you can share the HP with the rest of your team. You can bring your TD's HP into the more important fight, and then your team has that resource, right? I'm not saying jump out and say, ha, hit me, I'm an HP pinata. No, it's you're trying to take shots. You've added your gun to the mix right there. You have extra HP for the enemy team to deal with. They can't shoot all of you at once kind of idea. There is strength in numbers kind of idea, and it just all goes much nicer for the team when you've got your gun forward and you're helping them punch the enemy team in the face. This team we're against didn't do a whole lot. They didn't play a really great game right there. Notice that, look, this is an assault TD. This is a great example here. Didn't even think about it until I was yapping. But we've got a T-28 that essentially sat back at the cap. I think he was probably trying to support the Valley of the Noobs over here where their Vipera went. Also another great tank they could have used in town. The 101, a great tank they could have used in town. So notice, and they had some guys camping back along the edge. Back here we got a couple more TDs. Looks like we got a, whatever's dead there. The purple makes it hard to read, but it was a Shrek and something else. I think was probably the Su-130. So notice that their team kind of hung around on the back edges, did what you might expect the majority of TD players to do. Ours did not do that, right? We had a CC-67 and a Scorpion over here, so kind of a wash. But the rest of our TDs, we had, what, three or four of us, pushed into town, got aggressive carefully, started to notice that the town was lightly defended. We had just had more guns, we had more HP, and it ends up being a romple, and that's the classic recipe, really, at the end of the day. The classic recipe for a complete romple stomp overmatch on a flank. The other flank held. There wasn't very much going on over there anyway. Good enough. I don't even know if they killed anybody. We maybe lost one guy. There was a little bit of goofiness going on in the middle with the Borosk and the ELC kind of standard thing there. But we just brought more guns and were more aggressive. End of story. So really, something to think about. Getting aggressive with your TD. When a TD attacks, take a look at the situation, obviously. The standard caveats I kind of discussed already. You got to look at your tiering. You got to look at the type of TD you have. You got to look at the map. You got to look at the matchup in terms of the tanks. But as a general rule, my suggestion to you, in order to make the game fun, unless you really just love hanging out on the edges and sniping and letting the game happen around you, if you want to be part of making the game happen, get your gun up there. Figure it out. Get some shots. Right? Bring that HP into the fight. If you can do it, actually, with the glass cannons, you got to be careful. You can do it. Like I said, if I'd have showed up in the town back there and there were three of us or one of us or two of us or whatever, clearly the aggression thing's going to have to be tempered. I may have even had to fall back. But have that mentality where you can take a look at what's going on and change direction. But my suggestion is initially, I do try to, and I think I'm going to ramp this up just a little bit in terms of enjoying the game. Just try to get up there and get shots. Being aggressive in this game without overcommitting is probably one of the biggest game-winning moves that there is. And you can be aggressive by not getting straight to the front and punching people in the face, but being near the front in the good positioning. Just something to think about when TDs attack. I really like to do that. I've done that a lot in the past. I think I've fallen off of it just a little bit, but we're going to get back to it.
Enemy armor is hit.
Put another shot and hammer at 900.
We're immobilized.
The other thing is, when you get into situations like this, and we've talked about this a lot on the channel, it's really
We have the track back on.
press
Let's
W
go.
and keep on pressing, especially in a romple stomp. I'm just going to hope I can get some more hit points out of these guys. I don't know. Maybe it's going to happen. Maybe it's not. Vipera is still in pretty good shape. I think Artillery Bugs is actually one of the... I believe he is one of the forum guys. So I'm just going to come around here and go, oh, can I get a shot? I don't know, maybe. Looks like I'm going to maybe sneak one in. I did!
Gotcha.
I got the kill with 59 hit points. Damage. And one last kill. Put me just over 3,000 damage, 1,065 assists. We ended up with 2 kills and a romple stomp. So I think that even had I not got really aggressive here, this was probably a pretty easy win for my team. However, you say that, but at the same time, if me and maybe a couple others hung back, maybe that fight in the town doesn't get that bad, right? I brought the gun up, I got aggressive, I got some shots in there, I helped push in. We wrapped around the church and took the guys that were hanging out on the back end of it. So definitely I had something to do with it, and it becomes a synergistic thing. As the snowball starts rolling downhill, it gets going faster and faster and collects more and more snow and just starts crushing everything in the way. So yes, what I did definitely had something to do with it. If only I had hung back, maybe it doesn't matter too much, but there's a lot of, everyone's assessing the fight as it goes. So maybe if me and another person hang out back there, the rest of them don't come up and get aggressive, right? Hard to tell, hard to tell. Without being able to debrief everybody in the game and figure out what their own motivations and ideas were, we can't come to a significant conclusion, but I will say, or a sure conclusion, but I will definitely say that as you watch your team get more aggressive and have more success, that draws in more and more people into that success to try to join in. That's all I've got for today, guys. Let me know what you think about TDs. Are you a TD player and you're thinking, there's no way, I'm not doing that, not getting up in the front, don't trust my team, don't want to do it? Let me know what you think. That's all I've got. We will see ya.